I do a gospel rap. Like I said, I don't like to label it. It's just basically what I believe in. Just any rapper, once he gets on the microphone, he starts spitting what's on his heart. And since I got God in my heart, and that's what He's been working in me, that's what comes out. I was with a record label that released my album Igniting the Fire through Walmart.com, BestBuy.com, and we've been on many compilations.
And the reason I do what I do is because I feel that music has a really big stronghold on the young generation these days. A lot of artists out there, they talking about the sex, the drugs, the money, and a lot of these younger generation, they're trying to follow in those footsteps and think that the money and the drugs and all that's going to make everything better. But what I feel is if we can give them a positive message, a message about Christ, a message about the love that God gives us that never goes anywhere, that's always there no matter what we go through. I feel if at least one person gets saved at our show, I feel it was all worth it.
And your own personal ministry, what brought you to Christ?
With me personally, I grew up in church. My dad always raised us in church, but I consider myself, in my younger days, I consider myself a quiet Christian. Because I was always at church on the days I was supposed to be at church, but on the days that I was at school or not at church with my friends, I didn't spread the gospel. I guess you could say I was ashamed to spread the gospel. I was scared to talk to them about Christ, wanting to fit in, wanting to be with them. But on the other hand, I got tired of burying friends. I got tired of friends committing suicide, overdosing on drugs, getting killed to gang violence. But I have a specific story, testimony that stands out in my life. Is a friend of mine was at a party, and they did a drive-by shooting, and one of the bullets hit him in the back, and it paralyzed him for the rest of his life. I went on to graduate school, and I didn't get to see him for quite a while, but I ran into him years later after he went back to school and graduated. I ran into him at the mall. When I saw him, this was my relationship with Christ had already started growing, and when I saw him, I said, man, you know what? This is my opportunity to minister to this guy. I walk up to this guy, and he rolls up to me in the wheelchair, and he says, are you saved? And I said, yeah. He goes, oh, cool, then I don't have to worry about going through the whole stretch, you're going to church. We started fellowshipping, but at the end of the night, at the end of the conversation, he looked at me, he goes, how long have you been saved? And I said, man, I grew up in church. And he said, you mean the night we were at that party and all this stuff happened and put me in this chair, you already knew about Christ? You were already going to church? I said, yeah, man, but I was ashamed to share it with you. I was scared of what y'all would think about me. And that night, the thing that changed my life forever, even though I had already started my relationship and my walk, and not because my dad wanted me going, but because it's something that I committed to. He looked at me, he said, maybe if you would have shared Christ with me and invited me to church, I would have been at church and not at that party, and I wouldn't be in this chair. And that night forever, he was a young guy that at the age of 16, he was really deep in the game, making a lot of money, had all the girls. And that night, I knew he was a changed guy, because when I asked him, I said, what do you plan to do with the rest of your life? He said, before I die, I'm going to win as many souls for Christ as I can. And when he said that, all I could do was tear up and tell him I was sorry, because literally all the excuses I had ever made in life, I didn't have an excuse that day. So that day went on. A couple months went on. We started going to Bible study together. Heata got to meet him. And one night I got a call late at night, and they said, hey, just calling to let you know that he's passed away. And Heata called Heata. Heata went with me to the funeral and figured, this would be a good time to share the gospel and minister to the other people that were going to be there. But the funny thing is that everybody there, and there was a lot of young people, old people, whatever ages, they were there. And one thing that they all had in common is that my friend Mark, he shared the gospel with all of them before he passed away. So the day that he dropped that torch, I picked it up and I said, God, you know what? You put a mission in his heart. And because I felt to bridge that gap that he was looking for, and somebody else came and won him for you, I'm going to carry that torch for him. And before I die, I'm going to win as many souls for Christ as I can. And that's how it all got started.
Yeah. Like I said, I grew up in a neighborhood that was pretty crazy, Pleasant Grove, Dallas, Texas, you know what I'm saying, Southeast Dallas. I grew up in an area where drugs and gangs was just a normal thing, so I liked it. It was a normal part of life for me. And so, the end of that road is either prison or death. And I accepted that. I embraced that lie. And after spending one night in time in prayer with Satan, I told Satan, "Hey, use me. Here I am." Thinking something mystical and magical was going to happen. Nothing happened. I got up off my knees. Things were exactly the same. But like I said, little did I know, through junior high and high school, and even after that, I began to influence people to go down the wrong road, to make decisions that eventually tore up their lives. And one day I was listening to some music, and God said, "I want you to rap for me. I want you to rap for me." And there was a Christian rap CD that I had. I would never buy the stuff. I wouldn't buy it. Someone gave it to me. It was a nice, clean CD. Put it in. The Bible says that the word is like a double-edged sword. It cuts coming in, it cuts coming out. And the words that the brother was speaking were penetrating my soul. And God said, "That's what I want you to do. I'm gonna use you to rap for my glory." I said, "God, why do you want to use me?" He said, "Cause he says, this guy." I told God, "This guy is doing a good job. What do you need me to do this for? I want to do it." He says, "There's people that are gonna enter my kingdom and miss hell because you're obedient, not because he was." And that was some real talk that hit my heart, penetrated my soul. I said, "Okay." I said, "All right, but you provide everything." I had things lined up ready for me to roll that I think I worked hard for. I said, "Okay, you provide everything," because I wanted to work with them. I told a guy who was mentoring me. I said, "Hey, what do I do? What do I do?" He said, "I can't go to the clubs and just rap and get out." He's like, "No," he says, "we're trying to build you up." He says, "It's so easy to tear something down, and we're trying to build you up right now." So I said, "God, you provide the way then." I just seek this faith, stayed up in prayer, and before you know it, I got a phone call from a record label who said they were looking for artists. And we met up, and I was with them for 5-6 years. And I released the album. Like I said, my first album was released nationwide, Walmart.com, BestBuy.com. I have some copies you can get at Walmart.com. There's Walmart.com, BestBuy.com. Anywhere CDs are sold online nationwide, you can pick it up at. You can go to my MySpace, MySpace/the Heata, THAHEATA. You can pick up some copies there. I got them if you don't want to go through the Walmart thing or whatever. But you can get that. And Pooh has a single out too. You can hit up on his MySpace. What's your MySpace?
It's myspace.com/Valdez Pooh.
All right, and you guys have any words for anybody who doesn't believe in Christ or having struggles trying to, I guess believe or, kind of sort it out from the rest of everything that's out there?
Basically what I would want to tell you is that there's a lot of things out there in the world that you can try to bring you the satisfaction or to fill a void that's there. But I can tell you from experience that the only way you're going to fill that void, the only way you're going to get that satisfaction is through Jesus Christ. Because everything else, no matter what you're going through, if you turn to drugs, after you get off that high, those problems are still going to be there. If you turn to alcohol, when you come off that buzz, it's still going to be there. But no matter what, I can guarantee that if you try Jesus Christ and give him a chance in your life, he will always provide, he will always care for you, and he will always love you. You know what? Us as humans, we can do each other wrong. We can turn on each other. We can stab each other in the back. But I'm here to let you know that Jesus Christ will never turn his back on you. He will always have your back, and he will always be there for you, no matter where you're at or what you're going through. And that's why me and Heata are standing here today. We're prime examples that God never left our side. We always knew that there was a calling on our life. We stepped away from it. We went and did our thing. We tried doing our own thing. We realized, you know what, this ain't working for us. We gave God a chance, and he's brought us to